Good day everyone, this is John here from 3D Create Tutorials and welcome to my channel. So today I thought I'd do a tutorial just in Lightwave in creating a hard surface model. So let's get started. So in the modeling section of Lightwave, this is version 2026, which is a beta version. And I'm sure that there might be some issues with this, but I would definitely recommend saving if you have this version consistently so you don't lose something that you started. So let's keep that in mind while we're actually using this newest version. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the create section here. And here I'm going to create a disk. So with this disk, I'm going to start off right in the center here. And I'm going to pull this out kind of like that. And in here, I'm going to hit the N key to bring up the numeric pad. This is very helpful to kind of make sure that you get exactly what you want. So here I'm going to kind of adjust some things here. Again, that's all 5 and the Z on 5. Now, if you're coming from like Blender or something like that, it definitely is a little different in the direction of these X, Y, and Z. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to go with 0.5 here. And I went with 4 segments. The reason I'm doing that is I want this to kind of have like some edges because I'm going to make this into an actual quad model. And I thought it would be better to kind of work it that way. So, all right, so now we got everything kind of centered. It is a little bit lower here, so let's just make that 0 as well. So now I'm actually in the very center of everything, and I'm good with that. So let's hit the space bar here, and it kind of created the shape that we wanted, right? So that's the first step. Now I'm going to go in and kind of select some things. So and your selection modes are down here in the bottom. So let's go ahead and go with the points and the selection. And I'm going to select these 2 sections right here, just those 2 little points. And I'm also going to use the shift key and do the same thing on the one almost to the bottom right there. Now I'm doing this to create or select multiple selections. So let's go ahead and select the select loop right here. All right, so now it's selected everything around. And I can now hit the H key to kind of bring this up. I'm doing this to kind of tighten this up a little bit. So that way when I actually do the actual sub patch, it'll come out a lot nicer. So make sure that this is straight. I kind of be very diligent. See, now it's straight. And yeah, that's perfectly lined now. Just gonna keep that in mind while you're doing this stuff. And once you get that the way you want it, hit the space bar, and there you go. Now we have the form as we wanted it. Okay, so a couple things here. One thing is, when we hit a tab key here, it does go to subpatch. And it's only going to subpatch things that are quad based. Now, this is not a quad base because we do not have that extra detail here. So we're going to go in and undo this again, hit tab again, and we're going to start creating the top piece and the bottom piece. So let's select polygon. And we're going to rotate this to the other side. And again, we're going to hit the shift key here. And now we got both selected. We can kind of rotate this back and see what we're doing. All right, so we're going to now go to the multiply section. There is a multi-shift section, which is very helpful. So we can hit the inset amount and just bring this in. And this way we're doing both at the same time. And I think that looks cool. And this next one, we're going to make some variations here. So hit spacebar. Again, multi-shift. We're going to do this again. We're going to bring it in. So now we got another section of polys. And this time I'm going to actually bring this downward. I think this would be kind of cool. Kind of closer to inner piece like that. And yeah, that is cool. And once I do that, we can also, deselect that and it creates that again. We can reselect it again. And this time we're going to pull it again. So I'm creating like a form inside here. And I'm going to do this one more time so we can select it again, select it again. Again, it's a really easy way to kind of, make it happen. So we're going to go right about there. All right, cool. So now that we've done this, we can hit the space bar. And we've done that. So we got those 2 still selected, those faces. Now I'm going to delete them with the delete key. All right, there we go. So now we got this form. So now if I hit the tab key, you'll see that it comes out very smooth. It doesn't come up with any issues. Now, if it came back with only 4-point faces will be selected, then you got something that's not right. So you got to make sure you kind of clean it up then. So there we go. We got our form. So let's continue. All right, I thought I'd show you first a technique to kind of just go in and to select, different polygons with the actual multi-shift, but with the grouping option. And I didn't show this during my recording after this, which was pre-recorded before this. But anyway, I thought I'd show this as well so you have different options to work with. So again, you're just selecting polys, and you're going to go to multi-shift. And then within multi-shift, you're going to make sure you select the group polygons. If you do that, you have a better way to control those sections and then basically shift it inward, as well as you have a way to kind of just, make that section so they're all quad based. Just another way to do this, a faster, easier way. If I selected all the way around, it would be just similar to what I'm showing you on the other side of this, which I'm going to show you next. But anyway, just wanted to show you that you have the opportunity to use the group tool as another option here. Again, I'm going to fast forward this part here until I get back to the pre-recorded section. All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to now go in and kind of select some things to kind of modify some stuff. So I'm going to select these center sections right here. And I'm going to use the knife tool to kind of pull out some sections here. So the knife tool is really helpful because you can actually create just where you want them to be. So again, I'm going to use the other side now with the knife tool and go down. Pretty much the same thing. Now I'm going to go to the side view here and into perspective and see what I'm doing. So with that selected now, I can kind of go in and use the bandsaw to kind of help drive the line on the edge. And I want to make sure it's on the other side. So we could pull this all the way to the other side and get it real close to the other line. So about right about there. Great. Now we got that lined up. That makes it real easy to do. And again, hit spacebar. There we go. Now it's done what it's supposed to do. Now I'm going to go in and just select the points and merge these as I need to. So select the two on the top. Select those basically. Now if I already have some points selected, we got to deselect. So left click over here and let's do this again. Select. Great. So these points have already been merged. All right, so now I'm going to select these as well, so I can get all of it down at one time. So again, bandsaw, and this is exactly kind of where it needs to be. Maybe adjust it just a smidgen. Right about there is good. And again, we could hit the spacebar. Left click, okay. And now we can go in and kind of just adjust a few more things. So I'm going to select those points there, and I'm going to go over to the top here and hit the section there and merge points. And there we go, and eliminate 1 point. Perfect. Okay, so let's go select now the bottom points, and now we got those selected. Again, we're going to merge points. We're doing a fix, so hit OK. And there we go. And yeah, that looks good. So now that we got those done, we can continue to build this out. So we're going to go to multiply and we're going to go down to the slice section. So slice. And I'm going to select about there and kind of just eye this again. And we'll also do the other side. There we go. Okay, so again, we're going to go to the slice. So go to slice. And now we're going to go from edge to edge, just like that. Cool. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. It's real simple to do. Now we can go back in and select these other edges and delete them. So this is a good way to create the forms. So again, select this one, This one with the shift. And now we can delete that. All right, cool. There we go. Now we got our form, and let's continue. Okay, we're going to now go back to the bottom section and do the same exact thing that we did to the top. We're going to go to the edge where we had those knifed in, and we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to use the slice tool and kind of slice this back in just like we did before. Same process, same thing. This time I'm going to go from edge down to the bottom here and go ahead and just get that done. And then we'll go from this side to that side. There we go. Now we can select those lines. And we can delete those sections that we don't need. So go ahead and delete that. And this one as well. And I did some other lines here by accident that I fast forward through. So we'll delete those as well. You won't have to worry about that, of course. All right, there we go. So now we got a perfectly quad-based model now. Okay, so now we're going to start selecting some of these actual faces that we've already created. So go ahead and select all these on the bottom here as these as well. And we're going to go back to the top view and rotate it around and select these two and these two as well. So now we got the whole inner section here and we can start adjusting this. So again, we got those selected. We can use the H key now to kind of help, pull this in a little bit, just adjust it, make it a little different. I'm also going to shrink it down a little bit on the top, give it some forms, something like that. Try to keep it right in the center so that way the points are exactly in the center. So if I mirror this later on, it's easier. Okay, I also want to modify little things here. We got a couple lines that are a little bit different from the other side, so I'm going to use the drag tool to kind of help adjust some of this stuff. So use the drag. Then we can actually pull these over, just trying to get them lined up a little bit better. Right about there. We can adjust this one as well. A little closer sometimes. So let's adjust this one a little bit. Yeah, zoom in a lot if you're having things too close together. There we go. And we can go to the side now and do the same thing. Just a little bit farther down. All right, cool. So now it's a little bit more straight. Okay, so now we're going to select these intersections here. And we'll get these other two as well. So we've got one side now. And let's go ahead and select bandsaw. So we're going to go right down the middle. And it just goes to the flat side, which is fine. We'll adjust this in a minute. So I'm going to move this over, close like we did before. And let's go and hit the space bar now. And now it's done, left click. So we're going to select these other two right here. And we're going to hit bandsaw as well. And we went to the same exact amount, 91%. Make sure that we actually hit the space bar and completely get out of there. There we go. So now we got this complete whole side done. Perfect. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom here. Bandsaw Pro. And this time we're going to move it to the other side because it's opposite from the bottom. So we'll go to like 9. Right about there. All right. And again, we can left click to submit. Okay, cool. So now we've done that. We've got that side. Let's go ahead and now merge the points. So again, select the points in the corner here. If it's one and it's perfectly aligned, that means it's actually attached. And we could do the same thing on the other side now. We could always mirror this to the other side as well. So that's another option. All right, so let's finalize that last part of the selection there. And now we'll go Bandsaw Pro again. And it's exactly at the 9%. Perfect. And we can actually go ahead and submit. And that is done. All right, cool. So let's continue. All right, so we're going to go ahead and slice more of these sections on the top here. So we can select these two here and kind of just use the slice. And we can go to the top view if we want, or just on the perspective, whichever. So let's go ahead and just wing it here, just kind of get the best we can here. Kind of break this up. And there we go. And again, we can connect down the edges here. So again, slice it from edge to edge. So again, slice, and right there. And the same thing over here. There we go. Cool. Now we've done that, we can go in and now select the edges and delete those other two pieces. That one first, and then we can select this one with Shift and delete. And now we can select these other ones. Let's get these out of our way. And delete. Okay, cool. This way it gives us the ability to kind of select the inner lines now that we've done that. Otherwise we can't do a bandsaw around because it stops you. So we're going to do the same thing on the bottom here. I'm going to actually go ahead and add more of the slice here. So we're going to go to the bottom. And again, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to do the slice tool. And we're going to go across. We're just going to go from the edge to edge there. And then we'll go over to the other side here. Let's go ahead and continue here as well. And then to the side. And again, we can select the other pieces now and delete those. So go ahead and select these pieces here. All right, so select this other one as well. And go all the way up to the top and across. And then get that one, and then this one. And let's zoom out a little bit and move it down a little bit so we can get those other two pieces. Cool, now we can delete those as well. So now we got a loop basically around that whole inner center section now, which is what we wanted. Now we can use the actual Bandsaw Pro, but first we need to select some of these faces. So polygons, and select them. Now try the Bandsaw Pro, and see how it goes all the way around now. If we didn't actually, make those ends like that, we would not be able to do this. So this is very helpful. Now we can do 2 sections instead of 1. So I mirrored it, and we could take one of these away. We got one too many. Cool. Now we got that. Looks cool. We can actually submit it. So go ahead and hit the space bar, and there we go. So now we have some more control, which we didn't have before. Now we can go back and select this inner piece. Same thing, Bandsaw Pro. And now we can do the whole thing as well. And we're going to take that one piece away, just bring one closer to the inside to help control. Maybe bring it up a little bit or down the other way. We want the other way, so let's go back. Go around something like 90-some%. There we go. All right, cool. And now we've done that, we can hit the space bar. Left click. Now if it didn't take, we could do it again. Do this again. Bandsaw. All right, so we're going to go to the side here and see what we got going on. We got an issue right there. It's not all the way around. For some reason, that didn't come through. So it must have been an extra point somewhere here. So let's go ahead and fix this. All right, so again, we're going to go to Slice. I'm going to go ahead and select right there and then just work my way up. Just a real easy way to do this. If you want complete precise, then I would also suggest a bandsaw. All right, so we have an issue somewhere here. So let's go ahead and do this again. So again, I got to get some better detail here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, make sure I can kind of do this. There we go. A little bit off. It will actually, connect to the closest thing if something's not working right. So what we can do here is we can just delete those polys and kind of reform them. That makes sense. So we got some issues down in the bottom here for some reason. Again, it's easy to clean this up. So we'll go to the poly and delete it. So select it and delete. There we go. So we can see what we're doing. Same with this one, delete. Because we got some issues there. And you see that some points are not connected properly. So if you get stuff like this, just kind of clean up whatever you can and go backwards if you have to, just to make it look right. Okay, let's go to points, and we can start making sure that we got everything here selected. So we're going to merge these two. So let's go down to the details section and merge points. Fix is fine. There we go. We're going to go to this view itself so we can see what we're doing. See how these are offline? Got to make sure we select those 2 points. So select points, and again, do it again. Let's go again. Whoops. Try this again. There we go. Now let's merge those 2 as well. We can weld them together. See how it's not going to work unless we do it at the same time. There we go. So select them, and then we can actually do the weld. Simple as that, right? Now we can go around and select these 4 points and do a P for poly. And the same thing here, here, and here, P. And the same thing here. Now we can get this all nice and clean. There we go. Let's do the top section now. Let's go ahead and select this face and also delete it. So select the polygon and delete. So once it's deleted, now we can go in and kind of fix this as well. So let's go back to points. Select these 2 sections right there. And again, we're going to merge points. Close enough. And make sure these are all, there's only 1 there. Anything else that we might have a problem with? Now, go ahead and select these points and we'll create another poly. So P. And again, let's continue down. P. And the same thing here. And that one as well. Okay, cool. P. All right. So now we've gotten that all done. Now we should be able to see how this looks. So again, we can make sure that we have everything selected. So go to polys and see if we all got, just 4 point vertices, and we do. So that's great. So we can deselect out of there, and now we can hit the tab. We got some issues in the middle there, but we can fix that. So got definitely an issue there. So again, let's see what we got going on here. Zoom in. You get some anomalies like that. You have to fix them. All right, so we definitely know there's a problem right there. So let's go and fix that. So let's go ahead and select. It has to do with the 1 section. So there's a problem right there. So let's go back and fix it. Okay, we got to fix these 2 points. All right. So let's go and select the points, just like we did before. Deselect everything, hit the points, and select these 2. Okay. And again, we can weld that together or merge them, whichever. Merge. There we go. And now let's go and select these 4, and we're going to hit the P. P. There we go. Now we can hit the tab key and see if that solved the problem. So tab key, and that worked great. So yeah, just one little thing could cause a little bit of an error there, right? All right, so the forms is coming together now. Let's continue. So I want to see how this looks textured. See if I see the forms. And we can add some more detail. So let's select some more polys. And one good thing is we can still do this in tab mode. So select these. And again, Bandsaw Pro. Go to Multiply. Bandsaw Pro. And yeah, that looks good. Let's hit the N key though, so we can see what we're doing. And that's closer to the edge. That's perfect. Maybe adjust a little bit. Let's go with about that. And we can actually hit the spacebar, left click. There we go. It makes the edge a nice hard edge because it's really close. Okay, so now we're going to take and use the R key, or the Y key actually, to rotate this. And we're going to do it at basically 45 degrees is what we want here. So we want to kind of just go in and make sure that's 45. And we can tab. Keep that all at 0, 0, 0. That's fine where that's at. And we can now go ahead and select off of that and make sure that's exactly where it needs to be. And we want to make sure that, okay, if it did not work, let's try it again. So again, Y key. I'm going to make sure we go into mode here to make sure everything's selected. And again, we got to make sure we use the Y key. You get confused sometimes with R and Y. So let's go ahead and rotate this now exactly at 45 degrees, just like that. There we go. And that's perfect. So go ahead now and spacebar to accept it. Okay. And we can now select these polys here on the selection and delete those. And now select these. And we can go mirror this now over to the other side. So again, we need to go down to mirror. And we're going to go right down the center here. Right there. And make sure that's completely in the center. If not, it won't merge the points properly. So make sure it's done right. If we're a little bit off, it will cause a problem. Again, let's go ahead and go to texture mode and see what we got here. So now if I tab, let's go and turn around a little bit and see how this looks. So there we go, tab, and that looks really good. Cool. We got both sides now. And we got to do some more adjustments, of course. All right, so now we're going to go and start adding some more detail here. I want to add some lines into the middle. I want to leave this alone for now, the center sections, and kind of work into the very center of this model. So let's go ahead and we're going to add in some detail. So if I want to select all these, I can, but okay, so let's select the polygons and kind of go around. We're going to use the bandsaw again, and we're going to bring this a little bit. That's a little bit too tight, I think. I'm going to kind of reduce this down a little bit with the value. So bring this down a little bit the other way. We're going to go about right about something like about there. I think that looks good, about 87%. Okay, we can hit the polygon, and again, let's select some more polys. Again, down the center here, and again, Bandsaw Pro. And this time, we're going to go the opposite way, like that. There we go. We're going to go back and adjust this as we need to. So about right about there. Okay, and we can spacebar that again and accept it. Cool. And that's looking really nice. So let's go ahead and go down to texture section and see how that looks. I'd like to add a little bit more of a form there, just a little bit deeper, I guess a little higher edge. I'll get back to that in a second. So I'm going to go to the other side. Again, let's see what we got here. Let's go back to the actual wireframe shade. All right, I'm going to select these edges here. And I'm going to go to selection and loop. So select loop. There we go. So I kind of scaled this up just a little bit. Like 101%. Okay, I'm going to select these center lines in the middle. Okay, so let's select these two. And I'm going to go back to selection mode and select loop again. And I've got these all selected. I'm going to kind of rotate this to a perspective view so I can see better what I'm doing. So perspective. And we can actually, well, actually on the right view is good too. We can actually move this up or down and see what we got. So straight up. I'm going to bring it up a little bit more. And I think that looks good. Yeah, I'm good with that. So I'm going to deselect it now. Cool. Perspective. Yeah, I like that line a lot better. It gives a lot more, interest to it. So again, I'm going to continue with more of these lines. So we're just going to do this now. We're going to select these. And loop. Select loop. Again, do the same thing on the middle. Select loop. And same thing, select loop. And again, I'm going to pull these up now. So we're going to go to the right view. And again, we're going to use the T key to move. So T. And we'll bring this downward, straight down. Just like that. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Nice form. Now I can hit the tab key to see what we got. So tab. Yeah, that does look a lot better. I like the form. It has a lot more of an edge to it. It just looks more interesting. All right, so I'm going to select these points now and just pick those two. And we're going to, again, go to selection mode. Make sure it's on the perspective so I can see what I'm doing. And I want to make sure that I go to selection, and we can now select the sections. So selection, select loop, move this to the side. So select loop, select loop. There we go. And now we can actually go back to the multiply section or construct section, and we could do the super patcher again. This time I'm going to make sure it's exactly at the right angle. So flip normals so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to go to the top and make sure I got this lined up properly. And it is lined up properly, which is good. So that looks good. And that looks good. So we can now accept it by clicking off of it. And again, we'll go to the other side now, do the same thing. So perspective. And we'll go to the other side. So left click. Yeah, that looks really good with the form. So I'm going to go ahead and cut into this now. I thought it would look kind of cool having this cut in here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. So we're going to do both at the same time, just like that. Cool. And just adding a little bit more, detail here to work with. And I got to go back in now and just kind of delete some things. So that way I can redo this exactly as I need to. So make sure you got in polygon mode. And we can now select these sections here. So select polys and this one as well and delete. Cool. And that worked out really well. So there we go. So kind of run and redo the form here. So same thing here. I'm going to select these as well. Delete. Cool. Because this way I have a lot better control over maneuvering these things now that I've done that. Okay, so let's go back to the side here, to the top, and let's go ahead and adjust some things. So again, top view. All right, so now I'm going to rotate this back into place the other way because I need to do this thing exactly on center. So to do that, I'm going to kind of just make sure that I get this completely centered here. So let's get it right aligned with the center. Perfect. So 45 degrees basically is what we need. And we can accept that. So let's go and click out of there. And we're going to adjust these things now. Now that I have it perfectly lined up, it's easier to move the points and lines. Sometimes you got to maneuver around things, right? So here we see that we have some, it's a little bit tweaked. So I'm going to go to wireframe. I want to make sure that all these lines are perfectly aligned right on the 0, 0 line there. So that way, when I combine it again, it will work perfectly right. So let's go and hit the H and kind of just bring this closer into the center, just like that. So the opposite way. And there we go. That way, when I recombine, it'll be that much better. All right, cool. So now I can adjust this by taking these, actually just get all these right here in the center and kind of move them inward with the T key. And we're going to bring this upward, kind of like that, kind of really aggressive, I guess you'd call it. So about there, cool. And the right and left a little bit different, which is fine. When we do the actual mirror, it'll work out fine. So let's go ahead and now adjust that just the way we did. And again, we'll go back to the points here, deselect them, and select these other ones as well. So let's move these upwards again with the actual T key. Move it up. There we go. So a little bit less than the center, so it kind of flows. Now, I shouldn't have done the middle, but that's okay. We can go back and delete it now. So let's go ahead and select the faces and delete those. So polygons, and select them all in the center. And let's go ahead and go through everything. So you get them all. And we can delete. Now, if we miss one, you'll see it. Delete it. Cool. All right. So now that we've done that, we can go in and fix this as well. So again, go to points. Make sure you deselect off of that and select these. And now again, H key right down the center. Once you get to the center here, hold it and then pull it. So that way everything's lining up perfectly. Once we're ready to re-mirror this, there we go. Cool. Now we can go in and do some more adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and select the faces. Again, the polys. So go around to the edge here. And let's delete that. All right, cool. Now we got that done. We could now remirror this. So mirror. I'm going to do this a couple times. This way everything lines up perfectly. All right. So down the center. And it should be merge points. And then we can select off of it. Cool. So again, go to wireframe or wire shade. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to select these points here. I just kind of want to adjust these a little bit more. And make sure you get the last one at the other end. There we go. And we can get that one as well. Let's go back to the top view. And again, we can adjust this with the H key. Kind of lining this up a little bit better. So it's more straight there. Just like that. Now we can move it a little bit differently, like back a little bit. Cool. And again, go back to points. See what we got there. That looks better. Yeah, it's really good to get one form first, and then we can, move it over and then duplicate it, Just much easier that way. All right, so I'm going to select these polygons. And I'm going to bandsaw this and move it over to the side. Kind of like in the center. So it's kind of similar to the other ones. This way it will combine easier. Same with this one. Bandsaw. Same thing. Right down the center. Perfect. All right, so it's coming along. So now we can combine these together by using the points. So let's go and select these now. Back together again is what we're going to do here. So P. Move this over a little bit. Let's get these as well. P. Same thing, keep going. And one more. P. All right. There we go. So that's looking good. Now I'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, we're going to use the bandsaw again. Let's bring this out of the way. We want this to be right down the center. So again, first of all, we got to select the faces. So select faces, polys, select them. Just like that. And now bandsaw. Same thing. Click off of it. And same thing here. Bandsaw. Whoops. Cancel. Do this again. Make sure we got not the side connected by accident. So deselect that. All right, so let's go ahead and select these as well. And we're going to bandsaw that as well on the bottom. There we go. And we got those done. So perfect. So now let's go ahead and reconnect all these ones on the bottom as well with the point selection mode. So point selection. And we'll do the same thing as we did before. I'm going to make sure we get the right one. Let's go around and do all 4 of these. Now, if you selected some by accident, make sure you deselect it. Hit the P. And again, continue. P. And the other ones as well. Keep going. P. And let's do this last section right here. Oops. Do one at a time here. This one there and this one. P. All right, cool. So that's done. Let's continue. So let's go to polygon mode, see what we got. We got all 4-point polys. That's what we needed. Make sure that's right. All right, cool. And so when you hit tab key, we had some issues. So we definitely got some problems here. So some things we got to keep in mind is sometimes we might not be exactly, straight on something. So we need to reconnect some things. So again, point mode, and we do select these sections here. We got 2 there, and we'll merge them. So merge points. There we go. Same thing here, merge points. Again, I got to fix at a certain percentage, and these ones as well. Merge points. There we go. Yeah, just a little bit of cleanup work sometimes goes a long way. There we go. That comes out perfect. And the other side as well. So, yeah. Now we got the form, and we'll continue to build off on this form. So again, let's go back. I want to kind of get these all selected in the center here. And all these here. These as well, all the way down. And then on the other side as well. So we're going to kind of move this inward. So you can see what we're doing on the side view here. We're going to pull this down now with the H key to kind of stretch it down. I just think that's going to look better. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Gives it a different form. I also want to bring this in a little bit. So you don't like to do it on that perspective. You got to do it on top view. See what you're doing. So go to the top and just pull this the other way now. A little bit in and then out. All right. And of course, your form's not probably going to be exactly like mine, but if you want to emulate it, just do the best you can. Again, it's always good to have different forms as you guys are creating this stuff to see how things react. All right, cool. So I'm going to continue to change the form here. I undid that one. I kind of a little bit too much. Again, Control Z. So I want to kind of shrink it down right here with the H key downward. So bring it downward, kind of like that. And now we can go in and deselect it. Just move this around and put it on perspective again. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better, a little flatter. All right, so I'm going to continue to kind of adjust this a little bit more. Just want to see how this looks on the patch going on, and I kind of like it the way it is. So let's go and maneuver a little bit more. I think it's a little too tight on the edges here, so we're going to adjust that a little bit. So I'm going to go to the lines and kind of just start reforming this a little bit. So again, I'm going to go to the wireframe and shade, wireframe shade, and just go ahead and take these, just maneuver some things. So a little too tight here. I'm going to go ahead and select these points, kind of go around these right there. And I'm going to also select these runs right here. Just trying to get them all kind of aligned. And I can select these ones, make sure I got all these bottom ones as well. And these ones. And then just go down the bottom along there and around. Make sure we hit the shift key to get more of them. Okay, got everything selected, just making sure. Again, we'll go back to a different view here, go to the top view, and we can kind of adjust this now. This is kind of use the H key to kind of help pull this a little bit closer and out and inward, kind of like a circle kind of, just to give it a nice form. Okay, now we can deselect everything. All right. So let's go ahead and go back to perspective. So we want that one right there. All right, so deselect this one. So again, I just deleted that line. There's too many lines in that little section there. Okay, that looks a lot better once I got rid of that line. Sometimes you got to get rid of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Okay, let's go back to the wireframe shade, and we're going to kind of adjust this now. I want this to be more flat, so I'm going to select these inner pieces right here. So again, deselect everything. Let's just select points. I'm going to go all the way around this little base right here. And yep, that looks good. And then we can adjust. So front view, we can go maybe to the back view. And we can adjust. So hit G key or T key. And we're going to move this upward. So it's a little bit more straight, all the way straight up. Kind of like at a better angle there. I think that looks nicer. Cool. Again, texture, see how that looks. Perspective. Yeah, that looks better, I think. Before it was just a little bit too far down. You go back to wireframe shade. And I think it'd be nice to add a little bit more of a crease here and here. So let's go ahead and add some more creases. So again, we're going to go to polygon mode. So we can select some things, polygons. And we'll select these two right there. Bandsaw Pro. Just like that. I'm going to bring this not as tight though. Like maybe 10. There we go. When I took the line out, I kind of lost some of that edge, and I kind of wanted to kind of bring it back a little bit. All right, so let's go now this way as well. So we add a little bit more detail there as well. So again, bandsaw, we're going to bring this the other way. So upward to create that form on the bottom of that curvature, just like that. Okay, now I'll deselect it. And we can do this one as well. And again, I think it's a little too tight. Maybe maneuver it a little bit. Let's do that again. So bandsaw, again, we're going to hit OK. Try this again. There we go. And we're going to adjust this with a numeric. So in. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, so we're going to rotate this now. So on the top view or perspective view, I'm going to kind of need to figure this out now so we can make it nice. So we're going to go to the actual top view and I'm going to rotate this thing because we got to do the other side now. I think I like the shape and I'm good with that for now. So, all right, so again, top view. And we're going to use the Y key to maneuver around. So again, we can go to modify if you want. Select it that way. Rotate. Make sure it's on polygon. I'm just not going to select anything. And then I'm just going to rotate it. So then I can rotate it right down the center. And again, I do not have the numeric open. So in. And again, I went too far. So undo. 45 degrees. Okay, fine. Now undo. So Control Z. And let's do this again. Rotate. And again, I'm going to go ahead and apply. Exactly 45 degrees. Perfect. Now that I've done that, we can actually now go to wireframe. And we can see how things are coming out. So I need to fix a few lines over here so they're exactly straight. So select these ones here. Make sure you deselect everything else but that, and let's do it again. H key, and let's move it right to the center of this and bring it inward. And it's a little bit of finesse here to make it work right. Bring it back down so it's centered and it's nice and rounded. So we want to keep that form, right? So a little bit to the bottom. Again, keep it down a little bit lower, right about there. Cool. And then we can let that go. Okay, now that we've done this, we can now go in and select the faces, polys, and we can go all the way around and select. There we go. Now we can delete that section and we can now mirror this. Now, I definitely suggest to get out of that mode, but let's go ahead and mirror it anyway. See what happens here. So if I go down the center here, they don't always connect the way you think they're going to connect. So let's make sure that this is at 0. Okay. And this could be 0 too. And do it again. So bring it down. Again, I'm going to suggest that it take the tab off. And let's do this again. There we go. It just works better this way when you do that. All right, so now that we've done this, we can go in, first of all, one more time. Make sure we accept it. Hit the mirror again. There we go. And we can see how many points we have now. Once we do the points, let's do a tab and see if it worked. You see that we got some center areas that are problematic. So top view. Let's go to the point selection mode. And we can adjust. So we're just going to automatically point select, and we basically deleted 28 points. For some reason it did not merge them like it should have. Now if we hit tab key, it works. Great. Yeah, we don't see any real problems there. All right, so now that we've done this, we can go one more time with the points, just double check. Again, we'll go around. Just double check one more time. We're going to go back to the point selection mode into details, merge points. One more time, hit OK. All right. So we got that done now, and it is forming properly. That's what we needed. Go back to perspective and see what the texture looks like. Yeah, I think that came out really nice. It's a nice form. It's different. And we can now continue to build this out. All right, so let's continue. We're going to clean this up to get rid of some of these extra lines, because when we don't have it evenly done, it's hard to really patch this. So it's better to kind of clean this up so it's exactly the same amount of polys around the thing, which is 24 polys. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those two, and I'm going to start reforming this a little bit differently. So we're going to go into the area with a slice, and I'm going to slice these down a little differently. So right now I'm going to kind of deselect and reselect. So we already got our 4-point poly here, which is fine. However, I need to do something here. So we're going to go from here to here, here to here, and here to here. And I know I'm creating 3-point polys, which is fine. But now I got 4-point polys on the other end. That's not going to work for us, so we have to redo this. All right, so I'm going to adjust these lines so they're better, and the quads are actually a better situation. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these lines. All right, so let's go ahead and redo some of these. I want to make sure that this is coming out right. So I'm going to go ahead and use the slice again. I'm going to select from here, so make sure the slice is on, from here to the side. So right there to there. I want to keep the same amount of polys on that top piece. There we go. Now we can go in and just kind of select some of these and delete them. So again, we can select the actual lines by selecting them. And we select this one here and delete it. And I select this one and delete it. And the thing is, we could always select that one in the center as well and delete it. But first, let's go ahead and delete this. So we still got a 4-point poly there. And select this one, delete, and now we select the center one. So now that's selected and deleted. We got all 4-point polys except for on those edges. So we can adjust this. All right, so let's go ahead and select, and we're going to reconnect these together. So again, we're going to go to the knife, actually the slice tool, and we're going to select from right here to the center. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side here, slice to there. And now we got that done, we can actually select these other actual lines, and we can get rid of them. So go ahead and first let's go and connect this together as well. So we're going to use the slice tool to slice that together. But first we can just go ahead and delete these two right here. So let's delete that one, delete this one. And now we can go in and kind of just reattach this. So we're going to slice it. So slice. So go ahead and hit slice from here to here. Cool. And then we're going to slice from here to here. Just like that. Okay, cool. So now that we've done that, we can now go back in and select the lines. And we can just delete the piece right here and the piece right here. And we now have 4-point polys everywhere. So perfect. That's all we need to do. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mirror this whole shape to the other side down, since we've already done all the work. Okay, so let's go to wireframe, and we're going to select the side now and delete it. So we can start that completely from scratch. And we're going to go to the mirror section here and bring it down. And that's completed. Now we're going to go to the actual point selection, and we're going to make sure we select it here and make sure we don't have doubles of those points. So go ahead and go around the center here, and we're going to go down to the details section, and we're going to select merge points. And I'm going to go by a percentage, by fixed, and we should have about 28 gone. Okay, so that actually did what it's supposed to do. Now everything's connected properly. If you don't get it exactly centered, sometimes the points will be doubled points, so we got to be aware of that as we mirror things. Okay, so we're going to go perspective here and put this back on actually wireframe shade. So back to wireframe shade here. And that way you can see a little bit better. Okay, so we're now going to select the first 3 points over here. So that way we can do a actual loop. So go to actual selection mode, and we're going to select the selected loop. And that way we got them all selected. And now we're going to actually go in and add a top layer section here. So go to construction, go to super patcher. And one thing we're going to make sure it's down the center, which it is. So that's great. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that top section here. So we're going to go with the 20, and it's exactly the right direction. So let's go and click off of it. So it actually did what it's supposed to do. And I'm now going to go to the other side and do the same exact thing as we did on the top. And I'm going to fast forward that part because there's no reason to see this twice. So, all right, let's continue. Okay, so back to the top section. I'm going to delete the top section because I want to kind of add a little bit more detail to the top after a different decision here. So again, it's real easy to go back. So we're going to select the top polys that are in the center here. So go ahead and select polygons, and we're going to go through and start selecting this stuff. So let's go around, select everything here. And the reason for that is that we're just going to make a different form on top here. So let's select that all and delete just the top section, not the bottom. And it's the same exact, separation here between each of the points now, so it's great. So we can go back in now and just select those 3 points again, and we're going to do the actual selection again, select loop. And here we're going to actually just create a poly by hitting the P. So now we're going to have just one basically poly that's on the top. And the reason for that is so we can actually divide this out a little bit more. So select the actual poly. We're going to go now into the actual multi-shift. And again, we're going to inset the amount so we can actually create a center section. Cool. Now, one thing we can do is we can also raise that up. So it's good where it's at. I'm going to go a little bit to the perspective here so I can see what I'm doing, why I'm actually pulling this stuff out. And yeah, that works out right there. And now I'm going to start bringing this up and up. So right about there. Again, you can now hit the multi-shift, and we can hit it again. And this time we're going to bring it back inward with another inset. So bring the inset in just like that. Perfect. And we could now, again, hit multi-shift. And we can bring that into the space. So let's hit multi-shift again. So multi-shift, hit it again. Again, this time we're just going to do a shift amount, so it goes straight down. That way we have it inset all the way down into the space, so we can put something inside this thing. So I thought that would be kind of cool. So I'm good with that. All right. All right, so now we're going to take the center section here and kind of expand that as well with the multi-shift, so that way it goes in a little bit with some more polygons. So multi-shift, we're going to bring the inset in amount again, and about right there. Now the next thing we're going to do is just be adding a bunch of loop cuts along this with the Bandsaw Pro. So I'm going to continue to add those as I need, and then I'll redo the top piece. I'm going to fast forward off this part because it's kind of redundant from stuff I've done before.